Lindsay here, the Frugal Crafter, with a very quick card making idea for you today. We're going to make some envelopes and thank you cards for softball coaches. Now you can adapt this idea for whatever thing you need, but I just thought this was really fun and I actually did need a bunch of these cards, so I figured what better way to do a tutorial. Now a really quick tip for making cards look fantastic even if you don't have a lot of time is by using patterns. Now let me just show you. It didn't take me any more time, maybe like 3 seconds more to do this card than that card, but it looks so much better because I stamped the background. This is working right on the card base. I stamped the background first. And this one I didn't. So, I mean, already made such a big difference. Also, I used pattern paper to do the little diamonds in the corner. Here I used white. So if it was a pattern paper, it doesn't take any more time. Just dig in your scrap stash and it works better. And actually, I inked the edges of that, which I love the way that looks. I forgot to do it on this one, but that's also another way that you can make your cards look like $1,000,000 without actually spending that much more time. So the way I like to start when I'm doing cards with matching envelopes is I start with the envelope. So I'm using an envelope punch board, and I did want to mention this, that Hallmark Scrapbook has all their punch boards 50% off. At least they did at the time I'm recording this. So this board here is regular 25. They actually have it for 10. So I just wanted to let you know, if you have to pick and choose, this is the one to have because it's so useful. So I'm going to make an A2 size card, and there's like all these sizes here that you can make. And so the A2, I cut my paper to 8 1/8 by 8 1/8, and I need to score it at 3 3/4. And so I'm just lining up my paper to 3 3/4. I'm gonna punch, get my little tool out here. I'm gonna score. Oh my goodness, there we go. And then after that, all you do is you line up the little pointy thing with your score line. Oh, and when you're making this, you want whatever you want to be on the outside of the envelope should be up. So if you wanted to do this like to actually mail in the mail and have a white envelope, you do this so the colored side's down and it'll look like you have a pretty lined envelope. I'm sorry if I'm going fast for you. Actually, I'm last minute making these cards because I was working on them earlier and I ended up volunteering at one of the girls Girl Scout Service Award projects, so I didn't have time to finish them earlier when I intended to. And then you can just round over the edge with this other little punch here. This is a fantastic invention, and for $10, it's really a steal of a deal. They have all the other punch boards too, the first generation ones, if you want to go check them out. I'll put a link in the video description. So then you just fold up your edges. See, because you always want to score on the indent. So this is the raised part that goes on the inside. You always want to score so the indent is on the outside. It looks a lot neater. So just reverse that if you want to mail it. And I did get a little too aggressive with my scoring there and poked through the paper, but of course it happens when I'm filming and not when I'm just doing all the other ones that I do during the day. Oh, it's really because I'm rushing. But that's alright, you'll get the gist of everything I'm doing here. So yeah, a pretty quick, neat little envelope, I think. Alright, so to make the card, we're going to start with a card base, and I scored this already, so this is the side I scored on, so that's the outside. Okay, because otherwise you get, that will kind of like pucker a little bit, doesn't look as good. And now I am going to stamp on the background. I'm using this brand new to me anyway, I just bought it at the stamp show, a Starburst stamp from Impression Obsession. And I'm just going to rock that right on to my background here. Alright, and don't worry if it doesn't stamp perfectly. It's a distressed background anyway, so it's going to look that way, but you're going to cover so much of this up, you're just getting some texture here. I'm going to set this aside to dry, and I want to show you how I stamped everything, even though I've already cut them out. So for softballs, I started with some fluorescent yellow paper and some red ink, and I'm using Lawn Fawn inks. You can use whatever you have, but if you want these, I will put a link. They're from Hallmark Scrapbook. And so this is super easy. All you have to do is punch it out. So all I have to do is line that right up and on my 1-inch circle punch that I have anyway. Punch it out, and there, I've got a softball. They do sell dies. The baseball stamps you're going to see me using, they're from Local King Rubber Stamps, and they have dies that coordinate. I think they're pretty easy just to stamp and cut out, so that's what I'm going to do. I got to hang on one second. I got a kid here trying to get my attention. Okay, goldfish cracker emergency. I gotta love that. Alright, so then I've got this baseball mitt. So my girls have brown baseball mitts, but they've got pink trim. So I thought I'm just going to stamp this right on this pink. And this is walnut colored ink. And when I've got a stamp with a lot of solid area, I just kind of rub it first, then tap. And the Lawn Fawn inks kind of go on splotchy, but then they dry a lot more solid. So there's that, and it will dry a little bit more solid. That's a super bright color. It doesn't photograph very well, but I just wanted to show you that. And then for the baseball bat, this is kind of a cool stamp. What I'm going to do is use, where'd we go? We have fake tan ink around here. Here it is. I'm going to use fake tan on the top part of the bat because the girls use aluminum bats. Actually, the boys do too. But so I thought, and they're always these crazy colors. So I thought I would do orange and blue, and I thought that would be kind of cool. I think I'm going to use two blues. I'm going to use this lighter mermaid blue. I'm liking these inks an awful lot. And then I'm going to go on the edges with a little bit of this darker blue, this deep sea. And I like that they actually, I made little labels and stuck them on the side of my pad so I'd be able to tell what color they were at a glance. But I like how they actually list the name on the bottom too. So if you kind of make a mistake and you don't keep all your lids together, then you know when you're done stamping for the day, you can line it up properly with the correct lid. All right, so that's the bat, and you can leave it like that. But what I'm going to do is actually use the outline portion with the walnut ink again. And you know, I probably should be using a stamp positioner to get it absolutely perfect, but I'm not going to worry about it too much. This will fill in all of the white lines. And this is all in one kit. Oh, if they were purchased separately, and my head's going to get in the way because I have to kind of line it up like that. If I was purchasing this separately, I might say I don't really need the outline. But since it's all in one kit, that's great. I'll show you the set here in a second. Nah, I got a little off, but that's not a big deal. That's the set you get. And if you want, I don't always buy the dies. I usually will get the stamps. If it's something really hard to cut out, then I'll get the dies. I think the stamp set was like $15 or $16, and the dies are like $24. So I think I get a little more bang for my buck by getting the stamps. And oh, the only other thing I wanted to show you was that like I showed you, I made my envelope. We used a pattern paper. I saved the scraps and I used them elsewhere on the card. So one of my envelopes is going to be made out of this paper. I already cut it down, and then I used the scraps to stamp my sentiments, which is just a simple thanks. And this was from just a kit of thank you sentiments from Inkadinkadoo, I believe. And I'm just going to stamp them on there and make my own little pennants. And this is kind of an afterthought. I wasn't going to really do that, but then I thought, you know, that'll like really enhance the card. So I kind of looked at that and thought, yeah, that's kind of the shape I want. I feel like I'm going to burp, and I apologize. I hope I don't. That's so embarrassing. It's embarrassing I even brought it up. But do you ever feel like that? It's like, I'm going to hiccup or I'm going to burp or something. I don't know. There we go. Just going to notch that out. Everybody burps. I don't know what I'm worried about. I'm sure you guys all burp too. I'm not that much of a princess. All right, notch that out, and then I'm just going to just hit it onto some ink pads. Because I mean, if you have dies, you could use dies for it and even have a more professional look. But I was like, well, I want to make a card for the girls' coach because I appreciate volunteer coaches so much because I have no talent for sports. I have no interest in sports. I don't even know, what's happening in the game half the time. I'm just cheering for my kids. But so I really appreciate anybody that, gives their time for our sporting programs. All right, and if you want, you could also ink the edges of your card. Totally up to you. Why not? Not gonna hurt anything. And so I took some leftover paper from one of my envelopes, and I think I will hit that with a little green ink because I liked the way that looked. I just feel like I'm racing. I don't mean to. What do I do with my green ink? There it is. It's just been one of those rushy days, I guess. It's actually been a very relaxing weekend. The weather's been so nice. I've been like, I came inside this morning, it was 11 o'clock. It's like, oh my word, I've been outside all morning sipping coffee out in the nice warm weather. All right, add a little adhesive. There we go. And so this is just a square, and I thought, softball diamond, easy as pie. And then I punched out some circles, and I didn't want to just use plain white because I knew if I used it on a pattern, it would just look so much better. And I'm just cutting it in quarters, cutting the circle in quarters. It's a 1 1/4 inch circle, I think, and it's not even cut perfectly, so don't even stress. And I'm going to add that for bases. You can even punch out little squares. Do whatever you want. We're just being representational. And I also punched out an 1.5 inch circle that's going to be the pitcher's mound. So I just used some ephemera paper, which I just think is just kind of a cool look, to have all those patterns there. And for, people that don't craft, they're probably like, oh, wow, that must have taken you hours. And you can say, yes, it did take me hours. I'm fabulous. But, I won't tell if you don't tell. How about that? Yeah, I am sorry I couldn't help coach or anything. I was too busy making you this beautiful card. All right, so I cut everything else by hand. I did this in 2 different colors. I used hot pink and also a lighter pink, you know, just to see how they would look differently. I think I like the lighter one myself, but you know, I think they both look pretty great. And I'm gonna use some foam adhesive to pop this up. We're going to like the end of the year party in like 30 minutes. I'm telling you what, I am just like crazy flying out the door. I didn't put any sunscreen on today because I wasn't intending to be outside. And so the service project is this big garden replant that the girls are doing. And so I was outside helping them with that for 2 hours. So I'm probably going to be a little bit of a crispy critter tomorrow. I'm going to put one of these little bats down there, and I'm just going to use my Mod Podge or Elmer's Glitz Mod Podge in here. Oh, these little applicators, because I know someone's going to ask, it's from Tilly's Bridge, and it's a shop on Zibbit. If you go to Zibbit and search Tilly's Bridge, and I'll try to remember to leave a link, that's where that is from, and they are fantastic. One of my very own viewers here, Barb, runs that shop, and they're so neat. She saw me like wielding something, gluing something very badly. She's like, Lindsay, I'm sending you some of these because you clearly need it. They are fantastic. Put whatever glue you have in them and works great. All right, so I want to put one of my little thank you things there. I'm going to use my dry adhesive for that. And stick that right there. My viewers have the best ideas. I was having a really hard time with my ATG gun, and they're like, you need to make some cardboard shims, and they sent me a video. It was to Prairie Paper Ink. She had a really great tip, Amy over there, I believe her name is, and it's worked perfect ever since. So I'm telling you, you guys helped me out of all kinds of trouble. So there you have it. There is the card and envelope, and I encourage you to try using your background stamps, cutting things out by hand. You can do it. You don't have to have the fancy dies. If you do have them, that's great, but if you don't want to invest in them, I think you get a little more bang for your buck when you invest in the stamps, as opposed to, you know, if you have to pick and choose, you know, if you could like choose between 3 stamp sets or 1 stamp and 1 die set, I would go for the 3 stamps. That's just me personally. Everybody has their own issues or whatever with cutting things out, I guess. So there you have it. I want to thank you so much for watching. I will put links below to all of these fantastic things that I used, and I do appreciate you checking this out, sharing it on your favorite social medias, and also giving me a thumbs up and subscribing. It makes my day. Thank you so much for watching. Until next time, happy crafting.